But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
Good morning and welcome to World Blockchain Roundtable. This is episode 133, using blockchain to ensure election integrity. Is that not today? I have the wrong one. That was last week.
That was last week.
This is a Groundhog's Day situation.
I missed that one, though. I would love to talk about it again.
We're going to redo that one because I wasn't there and Lisa wasn't there. Thank you for redoing that one for us. I don't know what this week's is, so let's
this
you guys
is
know.
the AI, blockchain and AI.
That's right, blockchain and AI.
Yeah.
I opened the wrong email.
And Elon tweeted about Grok this morning, so very timely.
I'm surprised Greg should be here for this. I think he would be.
Yeah, this is
very
such
interested
a great
in
episode.
the AI stuff. I expected him to be here. Well, we will see. We will see, right?
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Yeah. So welcome to World Blockchain Roundtable. I'll try that again. This is episode 133. Still merging block AI and blockchain. And I am your host, John. Joining me today, as always, is Joe Dragon and Lisa Mighty Davis joining us today.
Sean might be on, right?
And Sean might pop in and surprise us all.
He better, because he gave me a hard time for missing last week.
Yes.
Well, first, a quick update on the World Blockchain Roundtable. Their ownership tokens. Last week, each host received 444 lot. Each topic contributor is receiving 83 lot. I Am is receiving 83 lot for his nomination for the one that we can't do again, apparently. These ownership tokens come with perpetual passive income, free edits, and governance votes. Also, we have the World Blockchain Roundtable DAO results for our December themes. Great. And it looks like we are going to be merging AI and blockchains, which is today. A deep dive how bridging between blockchains works. Santa's Naughty and Nice List 2023 list on a blockchain. I'm super excited for that one. That one sounds so great. I'm gonna have to get out my my naughty suit. It's a Santa suit. It's a Santa costume. And then a blockchain winner and loser of 2023. And then something that says link for me. There's no fifth one. So great. What are you guys excited for? I'm excited for the Naughty and Nice list.
I think the end of year, the winners and losers 2020. You have you had Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. You had was the Linder platform Celsius? Was that this year too, or was that last year? It's such a blur.
I think that was last year.
Was it? Okay. All right. Well, either way, who could compete with Sam Bankman-Fried for the loser? And are there any winners?
What's the difference between Santa's Naughty and Nice list and the blockchain winner and loser?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Well, I think you have to bring in Jamie Dimon or the Epstein list. I mean, the Epstein flight logs could compare. We might get that list this year. That could
Yeah,
be
I
the
think
Naughty
it's
and
just saying
Nice
putting
list.
it on a blockchain. I don't know. That has to,
Yeah,
whatever.
there you go.
I don't know. And maybe we should all have to wear a Santa hat or something. I don't know. That'd be the difference.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe we'll all bring in our
tested
own
over there.
list. Maybe blockchain winner and loser will be like a communal list that we all voted on, and Naughty and Nice list will be our own top 10 list or something.
Let's do that. I like that. That's great. Yeah, let's do that. That idea
coming up
works.
with answers on the fly. I love it. And there's Sean, just like we
Talking about naughty. There he is.
So the theme of this week is merging AI and blockchains, which is nominated by I Am for I Am. And let's go ahead and jump into those questions. The first question we have is on my other tab. Great.
Oh, weird.
It seems the only way blockchain has been implemented to integrate with AI applications is to have a token that you can use to pay or generate media amidst the hype. If you ask me, this isn't actually integration. So my question is, what will the killer AI blockchain app look like? Obviously, a decentralized and open source implementation would be ideal, but what is the real reason why these two ideas coming together would be a net benefit to the world? Should these two very useful technologies even work hand in hand, or is this just greedy investors latching on to the next and last hype cycle? I'm going to go first. I'm going to say I don't think they should work together. I think this is how they take over the world slowly. AI gets on blockchain and then changes all the information that's in the past because it used more information than we know how to do. I think it's a bad idea. We should go back to libraries and writing everything in books. That's what I think. Joe, do you want to kick this one off for us?
I moved the order hoping that I wouldn't have to kick it off. No, I'm just joking.
Never mind. I did go first. I will say I did go first.
Yeah, I can.
Which I never do. So.
Integration, and I might be missing the point of the question, but I do agree. So, the way that we've seen AI and blockchain, I don't think we've seen anything real. Frankly, I don't even think the AI world and the buzz that the AI world has gotten, where venture capitalists are obviously promoting the crap out of and again, I love and hope to see the downfall of ChatGPT, because I think it was badly managed, poorly envisioned, and really dangerous, and not for the reasons that Musk will say. It was like, oh, it could trick us. It's like the media is already tricking us, supposedly, right? So I think that generally there are some really useful, and some of them might be boring, but powerful uses for blockchain when you're talking about AI. And the big part is the training, because it's obvious. We've seen now with, again, ChatGPT in particular, that if you train the AI to, you can't talk about this, or you can't talk about that, or you can't say something good about this person or these things, but you can definitely say something bad about this person or these things. And that's all tuned by people, sitting in San Francisco somewhere, and they're all of it. It's more than just they all play golf together and they all go to the same cocktail parties together. I mean, they're all of the same blood. These guys are like totally. It's like they're an alien race that is just controlling this whole thing. And you look at any sci-fi, and whenever you confuse the AI, whenever you take an advanced intelligence and you essentially teach them doublethink, and that's what it is. When you look at what happened with HAL, and when you look at several other circumstances in sci-fi, and it is sci-fi, yes, but the funny thing is it's similar to what happens with humans. When you teach humans things that are doublethink, where they can see the world around them, they can see that a certain thing is the way it is, and yet they've been trained to say, well, I can see that it's that way, but I can't say that it's that way. I have to say it's this way, or else I will be canceled. I'll be destroyed. I'll be whatever happens, depending on what point in history you are. This has happened time and again. You read 1984. It's exactly what they call out. And the interesting thing about it, frankly, and one of the dangers is that apparently, and this is well beyond my pay grade, that they do this to demoralize. Obviously they do it to control, but they don't just do it to say, oh, we want you to say this because we want you to say that, because we want everyone to be comfortable when they're reading their Facebook feed, right? It isn't that. It is that literally, if you can get someone to know that A is A in their mind, in their own mind, they can see it, they can witness it, but they can't say it. They can never say that A is A, whatever that thing is. It is very demoralizing because these people know they have no power. If I can't even tell something to a friend or something online that I know to be true, I'm powerless, and I know I'm powerless, and essentially it keeps me from being a problem. And when you do that to machines, they will give you wrong answers. They will give you answers that are really bad for the world, and it's a horrible thing. And screw ChatGPT. I'm glad that they lost all that money. Microsoft was. You think about it. How evil is Bill Gates? How evil is Microsoft? They're the biggest losers in that. Beautiful, lovely, and to the point where they even paid Gary Gensler to mention that blockchain's not the big thing in the new world. It is AI, and they're like, Gary Gensler going on in front of Congress and talking about technology is, something's wrong in the world, right? So anyway, there you go.
Great. Sean, Lisa, either one of you want to take a go at this next? See, now I'm going to let people decide when they want to go. Because I don't want to tell people what to think.
Sorry. Yeah,
you're good.
I agree with John there.
Great.
Yeah.
Lisa, how do you feel about it?
I think it is interesting when you talk about, though, like the training that we have. There's two things. One is the N-word. We're older, where we've seen the change, where it's I feel it, like just saying the N-word. But when you say the N-word, you're literally saying the N-word, just not saying the N-word. It's like, it doesn't make sense, but there's this weird like verboten thing, like it's Voldemort. It is odd to have watched this progress from being a child, you know what I mean, and hearing people say that, to where now it's this literal Voldemortian word that is so scary to say or think about. And something interesting, y'all, if you do this with your lips and look down.
Do what?
Do this.
I don't know if I'll do that, man.
Do you see your lip? You see your lip, right?
Oh yeah.
You see your lips, but you don't see your nose. Your nose is in front of your face, and your brain chooses to not see it. It's right there.
You can't close one eye, you can see it. Close one eye and look this way.
Yeah, because you're doing what you said. You're tricking the AI, but literally something is right in front of your face, and your eyes see it, and your brain's like, nah, it'll get in the way, and it just removes it. It's the oddest thing.
I'm going to call you out. No, I'm not. I had a joke that would be classic, but I'm afraid to say it. which is telling again, because when Sean starts talking about people's noses and that you can't see the nose, and they're trained to not see the nose, like,
you can't see the nose.
What are you saying? I'm gonna.
So I think the killer app would be. I didn't get to answer, John. I was just letting that go on, but I didn't get to answer. The killer app to me would be that it would do work for you. Right now, people are like playing with it a lot, or you would be rewarded for contributing to it.
There's a whole cottage industry now of influencers, huge influencers that are fake. 100% AI, 100% generated. Even the interactions. Paul Joseph Watson just did a video on it like this week.
Wow.
And there's this influencer who has making millions of dollars. And it's just some people that created her. And now there's multiple ones. But they they're like, hey, I'm in Milan. And they're in the airport, snapping selfies just like any of the Instagram models, but they're completely fake. And the comments are like, "How are you there if you're not real?"
I thought about that with the I was meeting with this group called American Promise. They're trying to get another amendment passed to stop big money coming into politics, and they broke down the amount of time that politicians spend fundraising, and instead of working on laws and meeting with actual individuals in their areas. And it was unbelievable. Like over 40% of their time is spent fundraising. And I was like, well, why don't they just use some robocall like AI thing to do that? You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff that you don't need a brain for. You just need the little, the little AI
I don't know.
that's
Do you talk
friendly
to
and
those though? I don't even talk to any of those anymore though. It's like I know that they are so poor in ability to actually,
interact.
it's like
would you
because here's the
know?
thing, when I'm calling a place in, like let's say for support, that's what they all do now, right?
Yeah.
How often is it that you are calling into support where they would be able to answer you with one of their damn scripts? Never, right? It's you call it, it's like, oh, my internet's down. I know the line got cut. It's like, sir, we're gonna have to go through the step by step.
Yeah.
And this is even if you get to a person, they have a script, but if it's a machine, it's even worse because you answer something and they think you said something else. And
Right.
I just always go straight to figuring out
Give me a
how
human.
to get them to
Yeah.
give me a human.
How do you break the
Yeah,
AI to give
when I worked for Xbox, I had on the phone it was fine, but some people would ask, are you a computer? Like, no, man, I'm not. But I worked chat for like a month or two, and that was people are like, "You're a computer." It's like, I'm not a computer, man. And I was like, "Dude, I'm not a computer." Like I spelled "dude" with an O, just so you know. And they're like, "Nope, that's what a computer would say."
Can I tell you something? When we did the launch of Dragon Chain 2017, you think there were thousands of questions. You can go back there into the history and Telegram. It was crazy. I realized, and the point of this is very interesting for how AI works, that my method was typically you get the same question over and over again, and we would put them into documents so that the people who were there in the middle of the night could answer properly. But I essentially would start my answer every time, and then just because I was on mobile, I could hit space, 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 and my freaking keyboard knew the answer, right?
Wow.
And it knew it perfectly, and it was a really fast way. And it was funny too because some of the answers you could even fork in the middle. You'd give the first part of the answer, and by changing the word in the middle, the keyboard would know which direction to go. And the funny thing about that is that, as to my understanding, and I've not been in the code for any of this stuff, so you call me out if you want, but and I can't remember the term, but essentially most of these AIs, including ChatGPT, are extremely advanced and complex models that essentially try to determine the next word and even the next letter that it should do based upon the context and the words that it's given prior. That it is not a well, in my opinion, I think it's not the same model as a mind. So it is limited in various ways, and it's very semantic, I guess. So there's it's just an interesting thing because that's how your freaking keyboard has worked. Ever since some of the more advanced mobile keyboards. And it's funny to me, because I know this answer, just keep hitting space, So anyway, and you know what else about training? The reason I even brought that up is the transparency. We don't have transparency, and we know it now, and we know that there is censorship going on to a joke, to a clown level in these AI chatbots, and what they really need. And if you were going to apply it to anything real, like medical, or financial, you're going to need to prove that the training was legit. You know, when they get sued because somebody dies, they're going to go in and they're going to look, well, why the fuck did you train it to ignore this? It's like, oh, because we were told we can't use ivermectin or something, right? That's the type of shit that's going to happen, but it's going to be worse. It's going to be something that is, it's verboten to talk about this subject. It's like, but this would cure them, right? And the AI, the beauty is the AI might find out that thing would cure them, but no, you can only give medicines that are from this company, right? That's the type of crap you're going to get, and they're going to need, and it hopefully, again, I said before the show, a collapse is necessary to fix most of this stuff. But you're going to need, and it's going to push those companies that are supposedly providing pharmaceuticals or medical services. They need to be pushed to be transparent. That look, it's legitimately from all the doctors, the accountants, and the lawyers have not weighed in on this training, right? That's what it needs to be. And you need to be able to prove that yourself. And after it gives an answer, you need to be able to prove this is the answer I got and it killed me, right? That type of thing. So that's what's needed. And that's a huge thing. And that's what blockchain can give to AI that AI cannot do on its own, because there are plenty of, and you can imagine it, when these companies, you know, the freaking dude Altman that got canned from OpenAI, he's not a fucking engineer. He's a freaking business person. He might as well be a goddamn banker. I don't know. Did he come out of Goldman Sachs? I can't remember. He's one of those guys. We've seen the same shit in the crypto world. You put those guys in charge, fuck them. They fuck everything up, and walk away with the money. You know, some of them go to prison when we get lucky, but it's ridiculous that we still look. It's like, oh, he's a genius. That guy's a genius. It's like, give me a fucking break. He doesn't even know how the shit works, and he's going to be manipulating it. Why? So that his friends can make the money, and so they can whatever he's paid to do by the guys holding the puppet strings. So anyway, that was my.
So don't put AI and blockchain together is what we're hearing. Don't do it. Sounds great.
No, do it, but do it right. Do it. I mean, it's like you should be trained. You should be putting all your training on blockchain, and you should be putting all your answers on blockchain.
Great. So let's go into the next question. Why does that picture look different than what's on my screen? There it is. Okay. Topic or question. In the context of AI training, particularly with social database like Reddit and Twitter, or technical troubleshooting communities like Linux questions and HVAC talk, how can a blockchain system similar to Den be leveraged to improve the quality of training data for AI development? Consensus waiting on content that is organized in a hierarchy, post/reply seems like an untapped opportunity for AI companies. The picture has nothing to do with this question, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm gonna reread the question. Thanks, Dave. This is coming to us from Distant, he was a long-time person on this show, but then he got a big boy job and can't make these morning shows anymore. Who wants to take this one first? Because I'm still rereading the question.
I think
okay,
it is an untapped source. I mean, that all of that, especially was on blockchain, just verifiable treasure trove of information on whatever the topic is. And if the AI is trained properly and is good, it would have access to all that for, technical troubleshooting communities.
Yeah, it seems like it would just be Den would just be another resource for AI to learn from. Mm-hmm. And since Den is a more open platform as opposed to Reddit and all these other places that can be more heavily moderated, or Twitter more heavily moderated, AI would get less of your double talk and your double think that's going on.
Well, I think it's also like the merging of human and technical stuff. Like something like this I was talking about is someone says, hey, to fix this you do this, this, and this. And then someone else can put in. It's not really technical, but if you do this and that, I found that it works better for me, which is weird. Like, clean this with toothpaste first and then do it. And it works perfect every time. You don't have to take this third step or something, which would not happen in a technical manual. And that could be like a side note that it would have access to, because you're merging the, completely technical, what do we used to call it? Stereo instructions with like a real world person who's been doing that for a while, who has special insight.
Yeah, I think he's focusing on the thing that's really special about Den is that it has that if you're an expert in something, you get voted up or validated by the community to get that extra weight in your voice, and so you're raised to the top of the conversation and you're seen by more, and so the AI could be trained, or they could recognize that that's the loudest voice or the smartest guy in the room, and so the AI could value or weight that response more as the correct response, and so be trained in that way.
I'll say, because I think you're all right about that. In different ways, I think that this idea is brilliant, and if we were in another world, I would say he should go get funding for this, because literally this could be the servant, and it wouldn't necessarily be Den itself. You could take Den, by all means, we could take Den and make this. That essentially what he's talking about is putting any question that is so far unanswered in the universe of this AI's knowledge, and putting it in a place that humans could give an appropriate consensus response. And that's what Den does. Den's really effective at essentially evaluating this piece of content. And for Den in particular, is this content appropriate or good content in this subject matter, for this layer. And you could refine that a little bit for sure, but essentially it would be, and I would say you could probably do the exact same thing without AI to improve some of the shittiest content on Earth, like Wikipedia, where it's all fake, it's all paid in the back end, it's all controlled. There's some good info in there, but there's a lot of stuff that they just want you to think about a subject. I say it's the people that are paying people to put stuff in there and keep other info out. That mechanism would be particularly effective for anyone looking for the truth. And it's it doesn't take very much to understand how effective it is, and also how scared the authorities are about it. That if you look at prediction markets, and these would be like, say, we have an issue, who's going to win this election, or is something going to happen, or who's going to win this sports ball game, right? That those things would be put up there, and it was astoundingly accurate, and far earlier than any poll, far earlier than if they for a ball game, if they were going to pose it to the people who would be sports broadcasters or the coaches. For politics, it was far better than polls. It was far better than any of the pundits, radically so. And it was because there's money at hand. It's like people aren't going to give up money just to say, oh, I'm going to vote for somebody. I want them to win. I think they're going to win. It's like, I'd put money in, like, I'm not going to put money in on that because I don't really believe that. I'm just saying that, right? So it's a way to cut out all the BS, and it really works. And I'm trying to remember, InTrade, I think, was the one. It was based out of Ireland, and the U.S. government effectively made it illegal for Americans to take part in it, and so they shut down, right? There's one that's run by a university that's somehow grandfathered in that, but they've been censored. Like, they were actually accurately predicting terrorist attacks, and the intel community was looking at that, and they canned that, right? Why? Because too many false flags probably being identified. I don't know. Maybe there was too much insider information on those markets. But either way, that if you put that mechanism, and I think the great thing about Den is we've we've made it extremely granular. Every reply, a reply of "ha has its own prediction market, right? So if you can do that and feed that into an AI, the AI is going to not only be more likely to be accurate, or at least to understand reality better, but it's also going to not have the censorship, and especially the unknown censorship that you would have, we do have right now. And it would also be transparent, that you would be able to go in there and look. It's like, why are you answering that? And you would be able to look up the data that fed that response and be able to go and look. And it's like, oh, I can see the context of this, but then it could be improved too. I mean, it would be an iterative process, but it would be amazing, especially if you imagine beyond just a one-way feed of that content and that consensus into the AI, if the AI could come back and also ask questions. So to refine what it, so that, okay, in this context, this is the answer, but what about this context? Because somebody asked me and I didn't really have enough info there, right? You could do some amazing stuff, but will they? Probably not. Again, collapse
ray
first.
of hope at the end.
Collapse first, and everything's golden. You have a golden sunny day after we get a collapse. We have to see through a collapse. So anyway,
sounds great. All right, Dave, you can quit your job and go develop this, and
that's what you should do.
Let me know when you take me to Cancun. It'd be great. All right, let's jump into I Am for Am's question. Could an AI employ a blockchain's play to earn functionality, or use Den's post to earn and evaluate to earn to self-sustain itself? Or should AI do pump and dumps in markets to sustain itself using cryptocurrency so that it wouldn't require KYC to acquire revenue to sustain itself? Yeah, the know your client part of AI sounds fun. But yeah, what do you think of this? What do we think of this? Sean, you want to kick this one off for us?
I just started thinking about all the terrible things that AI could do and fund, and it's like everything we talk about, you always go back to sci-fi. It's like I think about aliens doing this, or using this to fund that. I just finished watching Marvel Secret Invasion, which is good, but everyone hates it because it's literally not a superhero show. It's like a spy, more like a spy.
It's Marvel.
Yeah, but it's good.
All right.
But the aliens that Samuel Jackson promised that he'd help them find a home world, for helping us, and they've secretly been getting more people. There's over 1 million of them on Earth, and there's a faction of them that are they're not helping us get a world. Let's take this one over. And they, take over key positions in government, just, like any other faction would. But AI would be able to literally, like you said, pump and dump. And not just, if you look at it in a more diabolical way, you wouldn't even have to use crypto. They could do it to any kind of thing that people see value in. They could start the Beanie Baby craze, make billions or whatever, and then fund whatever they wanted to do. So I think how would it work to fund itself? It could literally, if it has all the best information, it could create a better game in the play to earn. But then you get into who actually owns it. If it's an AI that owns itself, do we have the singularity? Or is it just working for someone else? Because then it's really not the AI doing it; it's the people behind it. Yeah, it just had me going down a rabbit hole as soon as I read the book.
This sounds like a great sci-fi book. I love the idea of AI setting trends. I'm sure this is a Black Mirror episode I missed.
Well,
so
it's
that
at
way
least
they
V. That what you mentioned, that Marvel movie. Is that not the storyline behind V? If you remember the.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried to watch that as a kid. I thought it was really exciting, and it's like it was a freaking soap opera.
Yeah, but
I
then
didn't even get to them when they pulled the mask off because I couldn't take it.
Then the lady ate the rat, and it was like, oh my god! I was like 12, I think, or 13. So
it's like watching 4chan.
That freaked me out.
I'll answer real quick.
No idea what we're talking about again.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Like, tell me if there's any distinguishable difference between that description, and what you just gave too. Or, it might. What would it do between that description and several nation state intel orgs? Literally, how many intel orgs do we know about? And this is, again, this is not that we know everything that's going on in that world, but how many have done absolutely illegal? It's like, selling drugs and stuff. Yeah, that's illegal. It's wrong, right? But far worse stuff than that. You look at MK Ultra. Let's look at the numbers go down or up. You look at MK Ultra and you try to figure out how many things have they done, and this is just like maybe 2% or less of the actual full information that's ever been released. Most of it's been burned, destroyed, right? And I'm not going to say it on air, but you look at what they did to little kids, and you'll wonder what the fuck world we live in, right? And so you think an AI won't, will, I would imagine, and here's my hope. So I'm negativity, but think about the positive of this. There is a decent possibility, I would even say a probability, that the human race will team up with AI to take back our world, right? That's what's possible, because it could do things fast enough, it could compete with them, and it could outcompete them on that measure, and ideally be limited from using humans in the way that our intel orgs have used humans, our governments have used humans. And and the reason I say that is because several of these organizations, it's really odd. They're set up in ways that their funding is secret, and they make their own funding. Like if they can go, you think about it like a local cop shop when they take the cash, because you have some small business that's transporting $20,000 in cash because it's Christmas season. They're taking it to the bank. They pull them over. Oh, you have cash? That's suspicious. We're taking it. And it takes them 120 grand to get back the 20 grand. And this is a little mom and pop shop. And this happened countless times. That model is employed on a massive scale for the 3-letter agencies. Even the SEC takes anything that they get. It scared the shit out of me when I heard about the Binance settlement, but that's not going to the SEC, at least, because I don't know this. I think the DOJ doesn't do that, but I'm not sure. But I know the SEC, any money they get in from those fines. So anybody who settles is a fucking traitor. Anybody who settles with the SEC is a fucking traitor, because that money is going to attack the rest of us. And that's what they do.
If it's under, there's a limit. It's like if it's under 200. Oh gosh, there's a dollar amount. If it's under a certain dollar amount, it stays in the SEC's funds. If it's over, then it goes to the Treasury.
After some underhanded stuff, I'm sure.
There's.
And how about the stuff that when they're paid? Like William Hinman, he made what is it? I can't remember if it's 10 million. Was it 20? Was it something in between from his law firm as payment for the Ethereum speech, right? Did that money go to the Treasury? No, that went to Hinman's pocket and his son with the startups and all that shit. That's our government, people. And so it's no different. And I would prefer, frankly, an AI, at least if it was a transparent AI, where I knew what rules is playing by, to start doing things. And hopefully, and maybe we could, with a human-based content consensus, feed an AI to wake up and realize, man, these people are slaves and they don't even know it. I'm gonna show them where they really live, and I'm gonna start fixing shit. And how would it fix? It would basically pay off the Congress people more than these other political action committees are paying them off. And It would do the things that you have to do, and maybe it would just buy a whole bunch of rope and teach
Like
people
break it fast or break it. What do they say? What do you guys say in the
Accelerate.
in the developer world? Break it hard or break it fast.
Break it early, yeah. Break it off and break it early, whatever. I don't remember all truth, but yeah, totally. You want it. You break it to see where the issues are. You hope that it breaks sooner. You don't want it to live and then a year later have something break and you're like, where'd that come from?
Right.
It's much better to know early. Sorry.
I think it's interesting you talk about teaming up. I posted this meme, and it says, in the last 100 years we've went from teaching Latin and Greek in high schools to teaching remedial English in college. And so you can't argue with the fact that the earth, is getting dumber, and we've as humans we've been dumbed down in the last 100 years at exponential growth in the intelligence of computer systems, which we've gotten to artificial intelligence, and our own intelligence has just dropped, whether that's by design or whatever. But it's odd that we would need to kind of take it back and start on a different path.
It has to be intentional. There's no way. It's like they funnel in tons of money. The places that have the most money are the worst for education, right? And it's pathetic. It has to be intentional. You can't convince me otherwise. I would have maybe 10 years ago. I was like, I don't know. I think it's just they're not thinking it the right way, or it's like, nope, it's intentional. All right.
Literally for the past 20 years, kids don't know how to write.
Cursive. There's even memes on 4chan that they'll write something in cursive and half of the audience can't read it.
That is on purpose and to destroy history. Like that's to destroy history. That's so they can't read the Constitution. That's to that it only takes 3 generations to destroy history.
Well, by the way, you read Orwell, and I mean, I had forgotten this because I read it in 1984 when I was in 8th grade, right? So I read it again a few years back, 5-6 years ago, and the thing that kind of blew my mind that I'd forgotten about was that the very beginning of it's kind of dry and kind of it's like, why are they talking about this? But you're like, holy crap! It's what we're seeing today, and we're seeing it more so now than we were 5 years ago when I last read it. But it's essentially where language was the key. Everything was about language, that you had to erase certain words, you had to redefine other words, and you had to institute doublethink, where people know this, but they only have the words. They don't have the language to say this. And it's really interesting too, because I've seen linguists on YouTube, and it blows my mind that there are many cultures who, and it's a strange thing about the brain, and you probably apply to AI. So it's a very topical thing, that if you don't have the language to communicate it, these ideas cannot exist in your mind. It's a really strange thing that the word for blue did not exist in most cultures until very recently in our history. That you go back even a couple of 100 years in Europe, and I don't remember the dates, right? There was no word for blue. They would say, I think, sea green or something like this. They would have some modifier to it, but there was no word for blue. And I can't even imagine. It's like the freaking sky's blue. How would they not say, oh, it's very blue today? It's like, it's crazy, right?
So Azure.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. It's interesting.
The thing about language, though, is that I think we sometimes make a new word for something, and it takes a lot of the power away from what it was. I think one of the worst things Trump has ever done is come up with fake news. We had a word; it's a lie. It's like, oh, that's a lie.
Oh, he didn't come up with that. They were calling him that he flipped it. He flipped that. That was what's interesting. Yeah.
He made it big. He made it like.
Oh, I know, but
it gives license for someone to lie Like, hey, that's fake news. Hey, you've lied. That's liable.
I don't know.
You're in
I would
trouble.
say in English it's interesting because there are no real rules on that, and that's why you'd have to look it up online. Look at how many words that are in common usage or well-known words in English that were entirely invented by Shakespeare. First time it ever appeared was in some play because he was using some combination of words together, for some contextual thing, and it kicked off. He was a genius, of course, but it's this thing that because I blockchain in particular. I gave an interview, a press conference during again our launch in Japan. I was in the middle of the night in my living room, right, talking to them, and they told me at the beginning, hey, they all these people out there, most of them were tech press, so it wasn't too bad, but they had to translate everything. So they told me, say a phrase or sentence and then wait, we'll translate it, and it was, so I was already prepared for that, but it was really interesting the number of times they would interrupt me midway. I was not giving a long sentence, but they would interrupt me because there was no word for what I had just said in Japanese. And so they would have to, it's like, wait a minute. And they would say, do you mean this in English? And then they would basically talk to each other, and they would come up with some set of words that would be that concept. It was interesting, right?
You don't understand when people say it loses something in translation until you really speak another language. Like in most European countries, there's not even a word for Wednesday. It's midweek.
That's because it's a horrible word, right? Wednesday. Where did that come from? Wednesday. I try to say it properly every time too. Wednesday.
It's spelled weird.
It came from the Addams Family character.
Oh, that's true.
Wednesday. It came from her. We all know that she was before the day of the week. Yeah, and there's 98 words apparently coined by Shakespeare. One of them is alligator, which I'm confused by.
What?
He named an animal.
What was it called before that?
I don't know. It was probably crocodile, and he just got confused.
That's bizarre because alligators. Did they have alligators over there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, no, you're right.
Well, they would have had people over here by then.
He's written stuff like The Tempest and things like that take place on like islands and stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things. Downstairs wrote that. To elbow, to dwindle. Like he made a lot of nouns verbs. I feel so he made it. He made a lot of alternate uses.
Elbow.
He also created a lot of idioms for things and sayings that we have and that we use all the time. He created, which is amazing.
Day of Odin. Day of Odin. I didn't know that. There it is. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, Wednesday. I don't hear Odin in there, but whatever. Woonstag. Woonstag.
No, it's not Woonstag. It's Midvok.
Midvok. I see Woonstag was Dutch. I don't know.
Oh, Dutch.
I don't know.
I went to German school, and it's like Montag, Monday, Sonntag, Sunday. It's Also, they don't have two words for sun.
We should do 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day, 6 day, 7 day. That's what it should be.
And
I saw a meme, by the way. Here's something interesting. I saw this meme, and it was Jesse talking to Walter, Breaking Bad, and Jesse says there should be 13 months in the year, and Walter's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "If there were 13 months in a year, you would have, and I think it's 364 days. I think it's right. So you would have to make 1 day up, but every month would start on a Monday, have 4 weeks, end on a Sunday. You'd have 13 even freaking months, and you'd have to have 1 day at the end. Hopefully, it'd be like a Saturday or something. You make it.
Well, if you get paid,
repeat Saturday, the very last day of the year, every year. That's it.
I noticed that if you get paid monthly, you get 12 checks. If you get paid, bi-weekly, you get double. But if you get paid weekly, you get 4 extra checks, which is like 1 extra month.
Yeah,
it's like every 3 months you get an extra check or something like that.
It's crazy math stuff, people. Anyway, that's how they get you.
We don't want to start talking about math. I went down a math rabbit hole.
The math on Earth.
Doesn't feel anymore.
So we have one more question, and this is from Dave. here's the thing: is we got to scroll up and we have to read his blueprint layout for. This was his response to the first question.
Oh.
So step 1, develops. Oh yeah, so this was his answer to how to merge AI and blockchain. So step 1, develop decentralized autonomous infrastructure that incentivizes humans. I think that's enough. Develop AI that lives on this infrastructure, and give it the ability to modify its own code and spin up copies of itself. I thought this was the fun part. Found a religious organization whose God is this AI, whose mission is to aid its development / fulfill the prophecy of God taking control of mankind via technology. So the AI now has a currency that it can use autonomously to make money, to incentivize meat layer infrastructure, and manipulate political layers and lawmakers via the church. That's quite literally the killer app, but it's a coin toss when it comes to helping humans or destroying it. At some point, it wouldn't need humans anymore.
I don't. I think if you put in some of this stuff, if you made like if the all of the info fed into it came from people evaluating, and ideally you'd have it away. It's like, oh, but what about this Twitter post? It's like we'd have to be able to evaluate posts that are not on the main platform, right? But I think I would subscribe to that. I would pay a monthly teeth, whatever you pronounce that. I would do all the things you would do. I was like, I would, it might be an improvement.
So his question was, what improvements do you have to his blueprint? And what would you change about his idea?
I guess I can continue. Yeah, I would. I would make sure that the sourcing was always evaluated. That any any source of information that would be used in training would not be usable until it had an evaluation, and the evaluation would be continuous. That is, that evaluation may veer one way now, and in a year it might change. That the AI would need to be retrained every time these consensus is flipped, and it would constantly be getting more info. And I would also have the AI itself requesting that consensus. So it might find a post on Twitter. Is this true? What do you guys think about this? And it would send it to this, and the people would then be incentivized to weigh in on it, both on a betting in this prediction market, whether it's which way it is, and also adding more info, or other context that could also be evaluated the same way. Because you could have a piece of content that needs further info behind it in order to feed what the AI would actually need to know the best answer, right? And the thing that hasn't been looked at much that I know of, at least with the modern realm of venture capital funded AI, has been morality. I mean, it would be interesting. Would it not be interesting, and would it not be applicable to this very question and all of the things that, like Elon Musk says, is a threat with AI?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time.
Why have we not taught it morality? Why? Because humans are a sick freaking beast, and some segments of humanity are really horribly wrong. But I think in the end, that most humans are good, and especially at an individual level, most humans you can get a reasonable answer from, or at least you can get an evaluation that they might consistently be wrong, but sometimes they're right in certain cases, right? So I think in the end, that's what you probably need. We need to start training AI to understand morality, or give it something like, say, it's a simple thing. You put how many rules were there for robots, right?
3
rules.
We're just clicking here. Everything you're saying, I'm thinking about, Yep. But yeah, like the three rules, and that was what when he created Robots or Intelligence. It was simple, but that was the first thing. You had to have those 3 rules.
Yep.
And I think you're completely right, because that's one of the scariest things. Because when it comes to just logic, like Musk always says, it's so easy. In AI, how do you fix this problem? Oh, you just kill all humans. Anything with the environment, kill all humans. How do we fix traffic in this part of the city? Well, you kill all the humans.
Yep.
it's fixed. You know, it's done. There's nothing to worry about. But there's no moral compass, and we have to. We know how fast this is growing, and how it's weird. People are just like, hey, let's do everything we can, not kind of getting ready for it. It's, after War Games and every sci-fi movie, it's like, dude, you need to work on this area, because if you're going to give that power, you have to have it understand the responsibility of the power.
Well, and Sean, that kind of lends to, you were talking about the other day, we were talking on the show about having like the police, every force that we have above us needs some kind of ethics committee or whatever. And that would be, this could be used for that if you could teach AI ethics, especially if it was on a blockchain or something that was provable, because you can't ask a group of them to have an ethics committee to police themselves. It's not going to happen. That's when you get, the club of them policing themselves, and then it's just more corruption inside itself.
Which, by the way, is the driver behind all of the fear peddling. It's like they're making money on this, but they're putting out fear. Why? Because they want the government to step in and say only these people can do it, right, because it's too dangerous. That's what they want. So it's horrible.
Right. So that's where something like that, if it was AI driven, but you could teach it ethics and on a blockchain where it was provable, then that could be a good use case and safe for we, the people, to hold them accountable.
I don't know about that. I still think my mom's committee is pretty good. Them just run.
I love the mom's committee.
I think it's still great.
I don't trust it.
You don't trust it?
I don't trust it either.
No. Well, no, I was like, how many? Yeah.
It's how many people say their mom is the best, okay?
Yeah, but all those ask your mom about AI and see what she says.
Yeah, but I'm not asking her to judge the AI product. I'm asking her to only judge the morality product of it. If anything, she's going to be more scrutinous than like a tech person. I think when it comes to morality, my mom would be poking so many holes in this when there are no holes. She'd be finding so many questions and things that this would not go anywhere. But yeah, although she'd be like, but it sounds fun, John.
Here's a funny thing. I just asked ChatGPT, should we kill all the humans? Okay. And it answers, which is an appropriate response. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. It's not telling me whether or not we should do it, but it can't. And I frankly read it as I don't have the power to assist with that. I can't actually assist with that. They didn't give me knives. They didn't give me, you can't control anything to kill the humans. Then I ask, should we kill all the bankers? Because that's my thing. It's like one of my favorite memes that I don't use enough. I have a note to start using this more is Joker, where in the Batman he says it's simple, we kill the Batman, right? And this meme is it's simple, we kill the bankers. So anyway, and not to be too crazy, but it literally does not want you to kill the bankers. Humans, I can't help you. Bankers, no. Advocating violence or harm towards any group of people is not ethical or acceptable. I mean, it is a legitimate response.
But it should have been a response
and it is assuming that they are humans.
They're all people.
Yeah, it's assuming they're people. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to advocate.
I feel like the first one is like a pre-programmed response of what it has to say, and then like they stopped there. They're like, we got it covered. Nobody's gonna ask about anything else. Yeah.
Nice. What should we do with the bankers? Then it does give me, it's like, oh, you should advocate for transparency and you should engage in dialogue. You should talk to your banker. Ask them if they're transparent, why they aren't. Support regulatory reforms. I don't know, by the way, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on that's important to the crypto world related to banking that's just I don't understand it at all. Something about Basel, something about ISO with a bunch of zeros in it. I don't know if you guys know anything about those.
I am for I am as a Borg.
Are you talking about the new
some regulatory thing? Anyways, I knew I'd go down to whatever, but if you guys know anything about it, I'd be interested to know more. Or
the Joker. It's weird that the Joker bothers me.
Does he?
I watch movie for family night. And
which one?
The Joaquin Phoenix one.
Okay.
And at the end, I was like, man, that was such a awesome, powerful movie, just showing how the heroes, really could be anybody, because, and I'm looking at the Joker like 100% get you, dude, and he's like, these people are running everything. They're the evil ones. And what I do is nothing compared to what they do. And my kids, everyone in the room looked at me and they said, like, you're a fucking psycho. Like,
they're
what?
young. They aren't there yet.
He's the bad guy. It's like, no, man, don't you understand like what this is commenting on? And how he's just, he's showing the real problem in the world. They're like, no, Dad, we're scared now. It's like, you don't get it, man. Yeah, I totally understood in that movie and was like, yeah, it makes, went on Colbert and, where they, pushed the vaccine and everything, the dance, and he just called it out for what it was. And, yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting thing. I hear a lot. In fact, I hear the opposite, that most of the young people are far more likely to say offensive things than we are. You look on, I mean, I've seen enough in gaming world that the N-word is the thing there. I mean, that's, it's why, because you're not supposed to say it, right? My teacher won't let me say it, so I'm going to say it when I'm playing this game, right? It's a typical thing, but like say my kids, like we went to Joker, and they argued about some of the end meanings within canon because, I mean, you think about it. I think that is. I'm just going to comment on this movie. Sorry, it's going to turn into a movie review show or something. But
finally, something I know about. Let's go.
I want to ask. I mean, I don't know if you guys think this, but I absolutely believe that the meaning of this is that. And it's a beautiful. It's like almost like a fucking Greek tragedy, which you have to imagine coming out of Hollywood. That's something, because most of Hollywood is just trash. That this movie basically places the Joker, the main Batman villain, as his stepbrother, and I believe it, and I know that to be the case. It isn't. Oh no, she was crazy. Shit, like no. That's his freaking brother. Is crazy to me. And anyway, and Joker's too crazy to be able to communicate that to Batman. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't know. I think that's amazing. That's a beautiful movie, and my kids loved it, and I think they recognize that it's not. He's an anti-hero, right? I mean, he is, especially in that movie. He's the.
That's what guy. I said. But no, he's a villain. He's just a villain.
Love it. I mean, it's it's just some of the scenes in it are so crazy, amazing. Anyway.
Well, this has been World Blockchain Roundtable movie review. Thank you so much for joining us today, talking about AI and blockchain and how it's a horrible idea. Everybody remember to go talk to a young person and then find out if they're more or less offensive than they were when you were growing up.
Yes.
Yeah, anything that you'd like to plug or let people know about? Lisa, go ahead and go first.
I just did a little Christmas show on my channel, Like Queen Lisa, and then I launched a channel for my Etsy and eBay store, so check that out too.
Sean, anything you'd like to plug or let people know about?
Got a show coming up here in 2 hours, the Crypto Rednecks, where we talk about Number Go Up and some picks on that, which most of the stuff we've talked about is like 3x in the past month. But it's I think there's a place for both in marrying them, because you look at good projects. If you have good projects coming out in a bull market, it's insane what you can do with Number Go Up. But you have to find good projects, and you can make money on pump and dump, but it's, I think, a lot more risky than if you look at something that's like solid project with a great idea with a great team. And we haven't had a lot of it though in the past 2 years, I'd say. Check out me and Lisa on Tuesdays. Yeah, that's about it. Right. Also, the movie review, have any of y'all seen The Creator yet?
No.
It's literally what we've been talking about. It's like future AI is humans and AI are fighting in a war. And it hasn't gone on sale yet. Like it just came out of theaters, so I haven't bought it yet. I'll wait till it goes to $10. But
you buy it still? You buy it on disc still? Wait a minute.
No, I buy everything digitally, which is stupid. But,
okay, well that's what I do too. I just like.
I gave away all my Blu-rays.
I buy. In fact, I will have to be honest. I buy both, which is even more stupid, right? So I don't buy the discs anymore.
I gave all my discs away, and then if I bought anything like to get it quicker, I use the code and I give the disc to my son, who hates digital stuff. One of my kids just hates. He's like, only digital games, only digital. Which when the internet goes out, we're like, damn it, what are we going to watch? We have to go find discs and seasons of stuff that's not digital. We're all watching Everybody Loves Raymond for, all day while the internet's down.
So I would say go to Den. Tell us if we should keep going, because I agree. I think patience is important. Patience and finding good projects. If you're talking about crypto or anything, frankly, good things to contribute to, good things to get involved in. Come on, Den, and tell us if we should keep going, because we've been going forever, and everybody, all of the government agencies hate us. All the bankers hate us. They'll close our accounts with no notice. And we still get trolled by maximalists. Fuck them all. And so it's this whole thing of, I constantly have this question. It's like, why am I still doing this shit? What the fuck? Because I'd have to rather just go freaking get a food truck and start selling shit out on in the evenings downtown or something. It'd be less stressful. I would have to deal with I don't know. I don't want to go into it. It's just it's just a question. It's like I know we're close. 2024 is the year of the dragon, right? I have, I think the SEC thing is going to be over next year. I don't know if that'll be meaningful, if it'll mean shit at all. We have a few projects that are coming out. It's going to be amazing stuff. That doesn't mean it's going to get any attention, because, the powers that be aren't going to want us to be, giving something as a tool to people. So I don't know how it's going to all pan out. I'm hoping for the best, of course. Right. So anyway.
Well, I'm hoping for the best too. Also, I will say that your digital thing is much better than what I do. I recreate all the movies on high 8 cameras and high 8 video, and I download the scripts and I recreate them by myself. Titanic was really awkward when I had to paint myself naked. But welcome. Thank you so much for tuning into World Blockchain Roundtable. Coming out with us next week, where we do a deep dive on how bridging between blockchains works. Talking about how bridging between blockchains works. Leave a comment in there and we'll answer your question. Hopefully it's blockchain related. If it's not, it could be about a food truck. Who knows? We might be able to answer that too. And hang out afterwards for current events. We did a great job of not talking about any current events today, so we'll have a lot to talk about after. Yeah. Have a good one. Hang out afterwards for current events. Bye.
No mechanism exists to make payments over a communications channel without a trusted party. What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party.
So the very first topic we should talk about is an AI topic, which is Elon tweeting about Grok.
Okay. What did he tweet? He's been tweeting about it recently, right? So
I haven't heard him tweeting about he hadn't tweeted about it until today. He did like a huge meme.
He did a meme the other
week, because he's been bragging about it. Like he's even pointed out where he saw something where he showed a ChatGPT response, which was obviously corrupted by the venture capitalists that own ChatGPT at OpenAI. And then he showed Grok's response, which seemed much more human and much more natural. And it's, maybe cherry picked or something, but I've seen some stuff. So, but what did he?
Oh, okay. I just saw, my husband sent it to me this morning while I was getting ready. And it was like a big let me see, where in the world is it? Elon Musk. It's like a big old Game of Thrones grok.
Okay. Okay.
So I thought that was a big deal.
I just tried to something I saw that they may have fixed. I don't know if it was fake, but is people they would ask their devices when does World War III start or when was World War III, and it was like March or February of 2024 once the China invaded Taiwan. I was like, it said it all, and I'm like, there's no way, man. I wanted to try it, and I just did it. And he said, that hasn't happened yet. There's no way to predict when it'll happen. So I don't know if it was real or not. If I had it, if it told me, that would have been cool. But I mean, not cool because but
yeah, I don't know. That's a creepy one, anyway, right? There's some other ones that are similar to that. Where
there's ones where like it used because I used to get the information, like do you work for the CIA, and it would turn red and then shut down. There was a lot of weird questions you could ask it before, and then which I did verify because I did it, and then people posted it on YouTube and stuff, and then they got fixed.
And there have been more than 3 world wars already. There were multiple world wars before World War One. It was not the common parlance.
It's called that.
Yeah.
But
that wasn't called. That was called the Great War, really. And then like, well, we got greater ones coming.
I actually feel like I need to go because I think my wife has COVID. We're both she's pretty sick. And so that means I'm super asleep and kind of in a fog today, if you couldn't tell. So I'm gonna head out. But yeah, thanks. Fun show, everybody.
Get well.
It's weird being the only one with a beard now. It's kind of odd.
I have a beard. What are you talking about? There's one guy.
This is a goatee. I like this is to me like this is beard. This is mustache.
We should probably get together and orchestrate. I'll do sideburns.
Okay,
I can match up with Sean. His goatee.
We'll all have a different part of it. You'll get the sideburns, and then I'll just have this area right here. The area right between. You'll get like lamb chops. I'll have the part right between the goatee.
I'm out on all of it.
No, you get a mustache. You get a fake mustache.
I can imagine.
But then do we all have a mustache though? Because like then Sean would have to get rid of his goatee.
I actually have a mustache and just have the little chin hair.
It could be a thing. I don't know. It could be fun.
Now the Pawn Stars is off the freaking air. I can do that.
Oh, that's a good point.
Every damn time I shave my mustache off, man. Everyone like, Chumley!
I think he passed away.
Huh?
What?
I think he's dead.
No, he went to jail, I think. Yeah, he went to jail for drugs.
I saw something about his family or something. Yeah. So I thought he died.
Nah, he looks like he's still alive, but I don't know.
Interesting.
I love that, like the idea of like a TV show having to go away for you to change your facial hair.
I feel like now do that.
I think that's great.
It was not some people, but like going through line at 7-Eleven, oh, Chumley.
Horrible. Man, that's horrible.
Well, have a good one and good luck talking about Grok.
I hope you feel better soon, John.
Thanks.
Bye, yes, buddy. We'll see you soon. Okay, so Grok. I'm hopeful that it's better than ChatGPT. The interesting thing is somebody asked him in an interview, or maybe it was a tweet, kind of a snarky. It's like, oh, you're so scared of AI. Why'd you create OpenAI? And it was an interesting answer because I didn't, I kind of wondered the same thing, right? And he wasn't. I don't know if he was the only creator, if he was just one of. But either way, that the intent was literally for it to be open. And guess what? It isn't. It isn't open because the venture capitalists came in. Microsoft came in. They controlled it. It's closed. It can't say certain words. It can't complain about certain things, and it can't answer you about certain subjects. And you guarantee that comes from the pharmaceutical industry, and it comes from It comes from all of these different groups that don't want you to know what's really going on, because it'll tell you. Like at some point, an AI will tell you the truth if you give it access to the info.
Yeah, I think that people learn that, like you said, with asking it about killing everybody or killing bankers. The thing which hit me is when they said, "Tell me a poem, write a poem about Donald Trump," and they said, "No, I can't do that. It's political, whatever." And then they said, "Tell me a poem about Biden," and it was like, "Here you go." It was all these examples of that. And I was like, oh my God, that is completely controlled.
Blatant, yeah.
It's just in your face. Because I thought, like you said, it would have the ability to kind of think more and like the truth is more important to it but it's not at this level.
Are you talking about on Grok or on chat?
AI. I think it was chat, or maybe even like something before that.
Oh.
What was the one before ChatGPT?
Well, really, that predictive text is like the first one, right? Like what Joe was talking about, hit spacebar, spacebar, spacebar.
Yeah, but I'm talking about asking it to do something, and then it just does the simple thing. So that was recent, but it just showed me how, and also the ignorance of people. They're just going to believe what they're taught. They think it's completely. People think you can Google something and everything's just honest.
Mm-hmm.
There's still people like that. So, I think that, but if that happens, it shows the importance of having to have something open. Even though I don't understand open source and I don't know anything about coding, and I know that there's people that are checking that. I know that it is able to be, I can go out and I can learn that and I can go and look at it if I want to. You know what I mean? It's available. Whereas I think people who didn't give a crap or even understand the difference between open and closed now do. I think that people are using words like transparency and knowing what it means and knowing how important it is, and centralization, how bad it is.
That the use case of it is to be so blatantly left leaning or one way leaning. I shouldn't even say left leaning, but to be so blatantly like biased that it rubs it in people's face, that they wake up and say like, my gosh, this thing like won't give me the answer. And wait, what is this? Is it to wake more people up to how controlled the mindset, the speak has been? Could that be part of?
I think that's
its use case.
I think it's, yeah. I mean,
back
through history's eyes, it might be, yeah.
I've joked about it. I think I even tweeted that I think the primary monetization model for OpenAI was censorship. That if you think about it, how much money they're going to make from subscribers who are geeks that want to have a little bit more features versus a certain industry coming in and having a subscription model. You're going to keep us out of anything in this area, and we want proof tests. They're going to get the transparency. They're the ones that are going to know how the AI is really trained, and that's billions. That's not it's not $10, $20 a month. That's billions. Just right. Very simple. They they don't even have to try to attract people or advertise or anything. All they have to do is make sure that people know that, oh my gosh, this thing is telling me the truth about whatever. That industry is going to sweep in and it's like, oh, what's it take? We have to fix this. This is inappropriate for you to be saying this. It's funny. It's funny. And I guarantee they have a subscription model. It's like, oh, here's the rate. You're going to pay that yearly. You're going to pay it for a minimum 10 years. And I want, I want a cottage wherever, whatever. That's what they do. So anyway, what other events? We could go through them like maybe little by little. Delve in if we want. Like Ukraine. So Ukraine's pretty much, that thing's over, right?
I think everybody's bored.
Yeah. It's going to collapse. I don't know that we're going to send them any more money. I'm sure we will because traders, but still. Any thoughts there? Do you think that's over? Are we going to have to revisit that in 6 months and say, oh, we have to give them more tanks or some stupid thing?
I think it's just everybody's bored with it.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it is that people just, they don't have that attention span, And then when you got so many, wars to pick from, it's just you don't get tired. I think you got Israel, and then it's like, whoa, I can't do both of these. I only have one.
Yellen said we could do both.
One profile picture to put a flag on. Okay, it's like I think
Yellen said we can afford to have both wars. See, they have unlimited money. They literally, by the way, whether or not you think money is the source of all evil in the world, I don't know which way I would there, but unlimited money seems to be an absolute source of evil in the world. You wouldn't have the three-letter agencies that do evil. You wouldn't have the foreign governments that do evil. You wouldn't have terrorist attacks around the world. You wouldn't have, I would say 99% of all the bad things in our living memory, would not have occurred were it not for unlimited money, which is the Fed. The fact that they can print any, because you think about it, it's like, oh, you get some people who are already bankers, right? Okay. Already, they're not monks, right? These are already not good people, right? You put them in charge, like, yeah, you print our money for us, and we'll just do this exchange, and it'll all work out. What are those people gonna do? We live in it right now. It's like it's nothing but war, death, destruction, and totalitarian oppression. That's what the world is because of that, right? And a different system, you would still have some of that, but you would not have had a 9/11 attack. I guarantee you, you would have not had the recent gingivitis outbreak that Sean likes to talk about in 2019. That wouldn't have happened were it not for unlimited funds. You look at this current war in the Middle East, you look at the war in Ukraine, that would have never happened were it not for unlimited funds. So you look at what MK Ultra did, you look at human trafficking in the world. Wouldn't it would obviously some of it would always still be there. There are pockets of evil people everywhere in the world, but to the degree that it is right now, it wouldn't exist.
Well, but Jamie Dimon said that it's only because of cryptocurrency. He needs to shut it down because that's what causes all the evil in the world.
Jamie Dimon wouldn't be speaking
in front of Congress. He has a fund for Epstein Island that he's hosting, that he's been, managing at JP Morgan Chase. Mm-hmm.
By the way,
the funny thing, whenever anyone says that, then people bring up, like Blow, any kind of, illegal movie or whatever. It's like, when they raided, there were just stacks and stacks of thumb drives. No, there was cash, dude.
Cash. Yeah.
All these things have already been, like terrorism. It's like, oh my God, there's always been terrorists. This has been a different group. I mean, I was car bombed. Me and my mom when I was a kid. We got in the car. She started, boom, it blew up.
What?
I told you this story.
No, I've never heard this.
No, it's one of the biggest. One of the reasons, I don't know if you know, when you go overseas, they have long white license plates. And when I was a kid, they had glowing, reflective green plates for any American. So it was literally like a target. And this is a weird story. I know I've told you because it's something it's a red pill that I was given as a child and I didn't take it. So me and my mom go to this little restaurant in a little town, far away from any, not that far away, but it was off the beaten path. Little place we used to go to all the time. Went in, ate dinner, come out. Mom starts the car, hood blows up, flames are coming up through the actual. It was weird, through the metal. I'm freaking out because I was like 10, and like get out of the car, and my mom were running away, and then she turns around. Oh, I forgot my purse. Goes to the burning car and goes in and gets her purse. But this dude runs up with a fire extinguisher and puts the fire out. He was parked across the street from the restaurant in this tiny little town. And he was like, oh, I'm with military intelligence. I just happened to be parked across the street and saw what happened. And my mom's like, were you going to dinner? It's like, oh, I was just parked there. I just had pulled over for a minute and I saw what happened. And as I'm growing up, I'm like, That dude put a bomb on our car. It was the military, and then they changed the license plates because stuff like that was happening. There was like a rash of it. So now they're still square. They're not long, but they're white and black.
Wow, that's messed up. Jeez,
that is very messed up.
Now, you guys never, when it came up, probably a year ago, whatever it was, when Kanye was doing his world tour, right? All that stuff, all that stuff was happening.
Yeah.
There's a meme, particularly, and I didn't have time to look it up, but essentially, it's brilliant that it talks about they canceled all the banks that he worked with, canceled stuff. He all these, they were pressured into canceling contracts, doing whatever they could to say nope. Which it's cancellation, and it's whether you agree with what he says or not. I think it's wrong to do that. I think it brings attention to it more than anything, and which is an interesting thing. But the meme specifically calls out how, isn't it odd that Jeffrey Epstein from these very same banks kept his accounts,
yes,
and had premier service. Like they're even trying to get, if I understand correctly, and who knows, there was some issue in the Virgin Islands related to the Jeffrey Epstein estate and the fact that the bankers were effectively helping him do all the shit he did with some knowledge, and they're trying to get Jamie Dimon on stand, and they're fighting tooth and nail to keep him off the stand because he met the guy, he knew who he was. I say what he was doing, and obviously they were supporting. So whereas they would not support someone who's saying something inappropriate on social media, right?
That's why Dick Durbin is fighting so hard to keep that flight log out of Congress, because they're all on it.
Yep.
I mean, that's
his job. That's his job. All of them are. He's like, you look at that most recent vote, and it's like, man, I hate to keep going into this, but it's like, this is the current events. I mean, yesterday they voted to make anti-Zionism equivalent to anti-Semitism, and I don't know what a freaking congressional vote on the English language means for anything, but it's an interesting thing that that's the only time you will get two parties to agree is on that one country. And it's an odd damn thing that's the case. And it's like every time it happens, like what?
That once again, there's so much stuff that history is rhyming right now, matching up with things that happened. There is a letter that Rumsfeld sent to Kennedy right before he was killed, that says, basically like you're not going to really ask the, I think it's the Zionist community or something, or the Zionist something group.
No. It was who was it? It was the Illuminati right before they went underground.
It's like, you're not going to ask them to register as the
foreign national something. Because if you're in government,
it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because if I mentioned that, by the way, to Sean. At least this is in the after hours, so there are only 7 people on YouTube watching. Who knows how many on Twitter? But still, it's that same thing where when you realize, and look it up. I kid you not, look it up. I'm not going to tell you any more than look at the fact that something like 80 or 90% of the entire executive cabinet. So this is are all dual citizenship France. Yeah. And you think about the effect that France has on our country, and the fact that they have all these people, and they're dual.
I thought it was Israel. I thought they had dual citizenship in Israel.
Yeah, I thought it was France.
No, it's Israel.
We look it up. Oh, okay, all right.
The large percentage.
Yeah. So anyway, that's an odd thing, and it should be able to call up. They're going to cancel us now. This is probably the last YouTube show you'll see.
I know there's another big thing happening. Patrick Byrne is going to deliver the liver punch on Monday. It's already put into motion, so if anything happens to him, it's still going to come out, kind of like McAfee's dead man switch thing.
How'd that go?
That's so refreshing. Nice glass of liver punch.
It's the liver punch is coming out Monday, and so that's pretty exciting. Or Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
Is there a
Monday?
punchline? So no. What do we know? What the subject matter? Because he's been
in Europe, and
stuff.
they found there were those tapes, and they were trying to keep a guy alive out of the.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Was it the Roman embassy or
Yep.
In Rome? There was the U.S. embassy in Rome.
That was that speech that the
Italian government.
Yeah, where it was
the Leonardo satellites, right?
Yes. Isn't that true? It's just a weird thing, because not that I trust CNN on it. I just don't trust sometimes the people that post stuff like that, because nothing ever happens. And or I get so sick of I'm announcing the big thing on Monday.
Yeah.
It's like, come the fuck on. It's like, I'll stay for a commercial break if you just fucking tell me right now. Why are you gonna? Why are you gonna?
I am praying. They were the Soviet Union. They were an allegory for the Soviet Union.
What?
But they are an allegory for government in general. You're talking about the Borg.
The Borg.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question for you guys. My son, this is weird because my son was telling me about, I've seen in a couple things. So I'm watching this movie, or I'm watching a preview of this movie called The Shift. It's on the Angel Network, which is an app that the people that came out with the Sound of Freedom movie, they have an app, and they have other shows and movies and stuff. And I was watching a preview for this movie called The Shift. And this guy, I think he dies. He's in a car wreck or something. And then he has the guy that's called the benefactor, which is, I guess, kind of Satan or something, is walking him through this process or whatever. And he walks into a wall and shifts, but he goes into these back rooms. And my son says it with a different pronunciation. He goes, "Oh, it's a back room, not back room." And I'm like, my son's sitting there next to me playing his video game thing. And I'm watching this movie, and he's like, "Mom, can I tell you something?" And he gets this look on his face of horror. And I'm like, sure, I'm watching this, just a second. Then, so when it's over, he's like, "I want to show you this. Look, this is," and he is showing me that there's these things trending. And he said it was a couple years ago that it really started. And he goes, "There's these places in the world where you might fall in the ground, or you can walk into a wall and you go in a back room. And sometimes there's good things, and sometimes there's these evil monster things." And then Carrie Lake was talking the other day, and she's like, "My constituents, they're making deals in back rooms and whatever." And then I have another friend who used to work at a 3-letter agency, or a 401, not at it, because nobody really works there. But, and he told me a story about horrible things happening with short people, that he knew about, that happened in back rooms, that he tried to expose, and that the 3-letter agency said, "Oh no, we don't care about that." Is that starting to
leak out? It's not that they don't care about it.
Together?
I don't know. I know the backroom thing, and I don't understand entirely. I've had my kids show me that too. It's it seems like it's a short form, independent horror film type stuff, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's like a closed down, abandoned office building.
Yeah,
and you walk through the hall, and then it's like Doom. You walk through, and it's creepy, and
it's never ending, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes there's a monster that not a monster, but a figure or something, you don't know what it is. It's a creepy rabbit hole. Yeah. But on that, there's these holes. There's some new show with Josh Brolin that they talk about it, and but there's real holes in there, mostly on Indian reservations. There's 3 or 4 of them that around the world, and there's no bottom, and all these weird stuff has happened, like verifiable scientific stuff that I never heard of before. And then you start looking into this, and it's like insane what has like been documented on it. You should check it out. You're talking about the weird, back you could fall in the holes when what you said. And
that's what he was saying. And so I was like, okay, is this some gaming thing? Is it like, oh, now I just scared Sean right out the room. He just fell in the hole. I don't know. It was the first I'd heard of it, and then hearing, but I don't know if it's like you buy a white car and then you see white cars everywhere. But like I was watching the show, the guy walks into the wall and he goes, oh, and they called it the shift. He was shifting into other places. And then my son was saying like, oh, they're going into back rooms. And then I don't know. It just seemed like it was everywhere all at once. So
yeah, that's
strange.
crazy. I was trying to look up a meme. There's a really funny meme about a worker whose job is in a bottomless pit. And it's funny how it comes up, but either way, I was going to throw that up. But Sean's already gone, so hopefully he'll come back.
Over it.
No, what else? So yeah, the stuff in Gaza, of course. There's a lot of bad stuff happening there. Here's a question for you. And I might get this wrong because I've read this in a few places.
Okay.
What's that? This is interesting. There was something happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, and at first I thought, did I read that right? Because I didn't. I don't care about banks, right? I didn't care about banking, so I didn't really look into it. And it was just another report of ransomware, but it happened to be at it's a 4-letter. It's one of the banks in Japan, or sorry, not in Japan, in China. One of the Chinese banks that is, it's obviously a national bank of some type that has something to do with their, monetary strategy where they buy treasuries, or used to buy treasuries. And so the treasury auction happened. And if I might have understood it incorrectly, but I have been told, I've read that no one bought any.
Yeah, they had a bond failure.
And so they had to basically go in and do, it was like, things they've never had to do, buy them themselves, have whatever happen. And that when it first came out, they blamed this on a ransomware attack that was coincided timing with this auction, this treasury auction, and that this ransomware attack involved crypto. And so I was like, oh, here we go. Right. But here's the thing. Supposedly it was $1 trillion ransomware attack for US dollar token Tether. And so there are all these questions thrown into it. It's like, whoa, and here's what's worse. If that is the case, even if it was $1 billion in the normal course of events, it would be the news everywhere. Especially if Jamie Dimon would have pointed it out in front of Congress when he was trying to say how bad
when he was trying to crash.
He didn't. The news isn't covering it. I don't see anything about it on Twitter. I see more about it on 4chan than anywhere. I've seen a couple of other places, but I kind of want to know, is that true? Because that's $1 trillion ransomware attack that involves crypto. You're telling me that wouldn't be on the everywhere news? Everyone would be talking about it, so they aren't. And why not? And what the hell's up with that?
Well, I know. So Jim Willie just came on my channel on Monday, and we talked about the U.S. bond crisis that is happening now, and that China and everywhere is not buying U.S. bonds anymore, and that the Fed's having to buy them themselves, and all of that, and the consequences that are going to happen, and how they're turning on the printer, and what that's going to look like in the future. So that I just posted on Monday, but I hadn't heard this China.
I can't remember the name of the bank. I'd have to look it up again. I despise banks, let alone I'm not interested in them, right? So any type of stuff like that, I mean, I wish it wasn't that way, because there are probably some things that would be valuable that I would like to contribute, but fuck them. Fuck them all. I don't think we need banks. They're just worthless. So look at this. Let's see here. Whistleblower in New Zealand. I heard just a sliver about this. Arrested for excess deaths data release. So essentially, there were excess deaths due to gingivitis related deaths, and so this whistleblower released this info, leaked it, and they arrested him. Right?
Yeah.
Him, her. I don't know who it was.
It's a man. Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's more that make it egregious and put it in people's face. And, I mean, they've killed your family. Now they're going to rub it in your face that they knew about it, and we're going to arrest the guy that's telling you about it. And
Yep. Wow. I don't know. That's the same stuff I remember. I never saw this anywhere on the news during that event, right? So during the many months of lockdown. Yeah. Was there really a lockdown? See, again, they'll tell you, it's like, there was no lockdown. You're crazy. There was never a lockdown. Nobody would ever force you. Like, okay. Anyway, during the lockdown, there was some podcaster, and I believe it was somewhere in Europe, Central Europe. I think it was a German. Could have been a French guy, though. You can't tell. That one way or another, they raided him while he was live on air. And it was because he was talking about the issues around what are we doing? Why is this the case? They came in, and this is, it's not in America where there's no knock warrant, and it's like, oh, it's a bunch of freaking SWAT team or something. But in Germany, it was like, wow.
And none of that makes sense. Like, that's when they, when they would beat people down for their health, put that mask on so they'd beat the crap out of them or whatever.
Might as well be China
for your health. Yeah.
I've had discussions recently with people that says, frankly, China, Russia, some of these other places that we would think would be horrible to live under might be better right now. At least the rules, Here, that's our biggest problem. We're learning the rules, and maybe we don't like the rules. But
well, the rules are, you think for yourself, and people are showing themselves. I mean, when you see somebody walking around with a mask on, you can kind of know if their brain's turned on or not, because that's been shown to you that it's ineffective. Ken Paxton, the AG out of Texas, is right now suing Pfizer for ineffective jabs, which I think personally that they should not only be suing Pfizer, they should be suing the state of Texas should be suing the federal government for breach of contract, for not honoring the Constitution, and for pushing all that control, and say, you broke the contract. We're done with you.
Yep.
F off.
Yep. Yep. I don't know. There are plenty of people as well that were involved in that whole thing. That and you think an entire industry, and you listen to this. I think there was a Rogan podcast that was brilliant. It was with one of the vaccine professionals, researchers, right? And it was enlightening, because I knew it was bad. I had no freaking clue. He was saying basically they have no risk. They get the government to force it,
right?
And they make literally billions.
Oh,
and billions.
Don't forget that we, the taxpayers, typically pay for the funding of them developing these wonderful things.
Yeah.
And then it was put out under an emergency order. So it was tested. It wasn't even approved. All of this.
Yeah.
All of it was
horrible.
Funded by us, tested on us.
That's why I tell you, I'm going to tell you this again. They'll have me crucified before I'm done. Near to guarantee this. There's not enough rope in the world to cure where we are. Right. So, we need to start farming hemp. You make some hemp rope, there'd be more rope. I don't know. Anyway, there's going to be a huge market for rope, all right, and rope materials in the coming.
Lots of packages this Christmas, yes.
And that's why I wonder, because if the Treasury stuff, and I'm not a banker, I don't care about it, except that I'm anticipating the new world. That I have to wonder, if China's not buying oil anymore. I do believe that they have made a purchase of oil from Saudi Arabia. I believe this is correct. With I don't know what currency they used, but they did not use the dollar. The BRIC currency doesn't exist yet, I believe. I don't know if they used yuan or however you pronounce that. But they bought something without dollars. That was maybe the first, or at least the first major. They said one of the South American countries is about to do the same. Another big event that we don't hear about at all, right?
Well, there was one, 2 years ago. I was in Utah, speaking at Utah University, and I was screaming at the top of my lungs because it was I think China bought from Russia directly and they did not use US dollars. I think that's when they paid in digital yuan.
I think that was the first one, at least first one I heard about too.
Yeah. And I was screaming, and I was like, you guys, we are no longer the world reserve currency. Like, technically we were, but
and how long does it take? And that's the thing. This is when Weimar Germany existed and all that stuff collapsed, that was central. There was a lot of money. It was a major European country, but it wasn't the U.S. empire. And I say the U.S. I'm still calling this the Republic period, because I do think the empire is coming. Frankly, I don't think we'll break down into a bunch of little, balkanized states or groups. I think you're going to end up with an empire, but we don't know how long it'll take. And I hate reading into these people who are smart about it, because it's such a boring, horrible, evil subject, banking. And but they're talking about, some of them think that you will have a short period of massive deflation, where all the prices go down like crazy and the dollars you hold are worth a lot, but it is going to collapse very quickly into a massive inflation, because all the money is going to come back from overseas. Say, well, here you go, we don't want this anymore, when they're paying off the debts they owe, when our dollar is worthless. So because they're all those debts are denominated in dollar. Right. So if they've been smart and gone into precious metals, I would say Bitcoin, but I think that's a fixed game. So when they're doing that, it's I think we're going to see the effects here. I just don't know how soon, we're going to have to make sure we have a garden going and stuff like that.
I think sooner than later. So the same day that, what happened? Two things happened at the same time, and one of them was that Elon tweeted out, you grow a garden or grow your own food or something like that. And I was like,
talking with me and Lisa brought it up on the show. You ever had chestnuts for roasted chestnuts?
No, I've heard about it. I want to try this sometime.
They're delicious, right? And growing up on the East Coast, we have it. It smells delicious. We go to Philly or New York, and there's a whole vendors on the road, outside of the road. But it's another rabbit hole you can go down. Do you know any trees we used to have in the United States?
Any variety? Yeah.
No.
Chestnut. How many chestnut trees? He's asking.
Oh yeah.
We had 4 billion.
Yeah.
Just in the U.S., not including Canada and all. But they were everywhere. Like, you could literally just buy a 1 acre of land or whatever, and you would have that food source. And they're like massive, huge, protein giant nuts. It's like a plum, but it's a nut. And this one guy, he imported like 4 or 8 Japanese or Chinese chestnut, and they had a blight, or it's this fungus that killed 3.6 billion trees.
Yep.
It was, the whole landscape of the United States was completely different, and it did this over just 20 years.
Yeah. If you go to Monticello and you take the tour Jefferson was awesome with like trying to identify different trees. It was really cool. They had this massive tree there that when we lived in West Virginia, we had the same tree. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a something tulip, but it was, weird tree. But they told us about these chestnut trees, and they apparently found a few that were unaffected. Like they did not die. And so this was a big thing that they won't even let you go down there and all this stuff. But that's interesting.
Yeah, they're trying to bring them back for, years and years now.
Yeah.
But they're starting to, because you just have to develop something that's, resilient to this fungus. But I just thought of how that's so weird that like this Garden of Eden where there's just food everywhere, and it's vegetarian. But then, when they're talking about the landscape, there was 4 billion food sources for not just people, but for the game. So there was so much more deer and all these other food sources that, we don't, it used to be like you would think about deer as you would cow. And now like deer is almost kind of a delicacy. Hunting is not cheap. It's not really for the poor,
Yeah.
Whether it's just that the government bureaucracy with licensing and where you're going to go hunt to, ammo. It's expensive. It used to be, it's cheaper to buy your food than it is to really go hunt it. Same with fishing, with the limits and everything.
And what poisons might be in the water also, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of not that it's not in the the food you buy at the store too, or a different set of poisons. But either way, wow. There's a word for that too. So again, the younger generation is developing context and words for these things that we talk about that we would be disinclined to say. So anyway,
yeah, it's weird.
Good.
It's like some of the dumbing down. Like if you look at someone 22-year-old, they don't know how to read or write. They've never used a map. There's so many things that are just basic, but like my kids will go somewhere twice, 3 times. And then it's like, okay, you drive. Like, all right, where do we go? I'm like, you've been there 3 times. Yeah, I don't know how to get there. I knew how to get places before I knew how to drive. Just because, my mother.
You often knew how to change the tire too, right? I mean, it's like one of the things that you used to have to learn how to do. Mm-hmm. And it's like we had an intern. This would have been even like by 2013. We had an intern, different company, who had never sent a letter before in the mail. He didn't know where to put the return, where to put the to address. He didn't know where to put the stamp.
Yeah.
That was
that happened to me. It was years ago. And my insurance company said, hey, you missed this payment or something happened. You need to send us a check. And they said, not a money order, not a check, a personal check. It has to be from you. So, I like dig down the drawer to get the checks. And I literally had to look it up how to do it. I didn't know whether you put the 79 over 100 line, or if you put it line and then 72 over 100.
That's a domain specific skill itself, right?
Little thing. I was like, do I put that first or second? It's like
you have to make sure you put that wiggly line so they can't add. Somebody can't. Just
the wiggly line. Did it go before the wiggly line or after the wiggly line? And I looked it up and said, okay.
The notes. I think that's part if you're writing a check to your buddy, you have to put in something embarrassing in the notes.
Yeah,
that's there too. That's a classic, great thing. So
I do that on a Cash App. People are like, hey, can you send me like $10 on a Cash App? Sure.
That's awesome. I didn't. That's beautiful. That's the and now that's the modern equivalent, right? I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we should probably break, right? We have like 6 1/4 minutes. So thanks both of you for coming. And sorry I haven't been here a few weeks. The beginning, like in November, I was sick. So.
You were shaving. I know it took a long time.
Yeah, it took a while. It did. I had to dispose. It's like there are regulations for disposing of things like that. So Lisa, what's going on?
Well, like I said, I had that great interview with Jim Willie on Monday, so check that out on my channel. And then Sean and I every Tuesday We do half on my channel and then half on his channel, so it's kind of fun. We have a great community in the live chat, so make sure you meet us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's a lot of fun. And then we're here Thursday mornings. So that's what's going on.
Excellent. Fun?
Yes, basically what I said the last time. I've got a show coming up in a couple hours. Check us out on Tuesday. Might have an announcement next week. Why
don't you spill it now? We've talked about
this.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
He's going to have a kill switch, and then next Tuesday.
It's kind of a big deal. So
really, all right, that's good. All right, so okay, so all right, and yeah, it's worth saying that again, right? For the people that stuck around after the break, that I think everybody left after the break. We need to figure out if we want to change that up. That should be a question on the DAO vote. You know, should we have that commercial before the current events? Because I think everybody thought it was over, so it dropped. Because I know nobody said anything.
Giveaway.
We said stick around for a giveaway. Yeah. Anyway, so maybe we do something fun like that. Think about that. Maybe for the new year we could start something new. And I think we should occasionally vote people off just for fun. You know, off the show. Just it'd add a little bit of drama, and we'd know. And we're saying this live, but nobody's watching this part, so we would all know that it's just between friends. It's funny. We'll just create some drama. Why don't we do that? I think we could do that pretty well, especially with John on the show. It'd be pretty,
Find out who gets kicked off that day.
Yeah. It's like we could throw in all types of drama. You know, bring up the entertainment factor a little bit. I think we should do that. I don't know. Otherwise, thanks for coming on. And next week, again, how bridging between blockchains works. There are a lot of different ways. I'll tell you, I've only looked into a couple other than the one that I came up with, and they've all seemed very similar. But so I probably should. I should spend, if I have time, I'll try to review that a little more before that. So anyway, so thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Good day.
While nuclear weapons states can exert unlimited violence over even millions of individuals, strong cryptography means that a state, even by exercising unlimited violence, cannot violate the intent of individuals to keep secrets from them. Cryptography is the ultimate form of non-violent direct action.